Hi, we're in the garden at the Dallas Arboretum. It's a cool January day and everything's just beautiful right now. All our plants are in for the winter or waiting on spring now. There's other things you can do right now, and one I think that's a lot of fun is planting a winter herb garden. I like to do it in a container so you can have it near the home, right outside the back door, the front door. It needs to be in full sun, but you'll have fresh herbs even through the winter. There are a lot of herbs that are very cold hardy, and they actually grow better here during the cold season than during the heat of summer. Alright, for the container, there's lots of ways to go. With herbs, because they're not that large of a plant and their root system doesn't need as much soil, you don't really need a tall, deep pot. What's great is kind of a more shallow, wide mouth pot, like the bowl that you see here, because the wider it is, the more different types of herbs you can plant in the space up here above. You'll want a good, well-drained soil. I've got a nice, rich potting mix here. The other thing I always want to do is add my fertilizer before I plant. I like time-release fertilizers because it's kind of no fuss, no muss. You put it in there, it's going to work. Fertilizer is going to come out at just the right amount to feed these plants, because herbs, fast-growing, need a lot of food, and you can do that. Alright, next step, picking the right plants. There's a lot of different herbs that do well. It can survive cold temperatures, and in some cases really thrive during the coldest part of the winter. One I've got right here is probably one that we love here in Texas, cilantro. The green leaf cilantro is used on all sorts of Tex-Mex cooking. You also can use it in a lot of extra different Asian recipes. Another one that's right there on the top list is parsley. Boy, you can use this almost everything. Fresh green parsley, there's actually a curl leaf variety, and then what's called Italian parsley. It's just a larger, looser leaf. Of course, you couldn't do without chives. This nice little pot of green tender chives. It's in the onion family, but really thin leaves. Another good cold hardy perennial plant that'll grow. Sage, used a lot on pork products when you're cooking. Good old oregano. So we think of this kind of, I always call it the pizza herb, because it gives that distinctive flavor to Italian pizza pie. But a nice little small trailing plant. Thyme, real good strong herb again. This one again is kind of in that pizza arena. Really good herb, and will grow right over the side of the container. It's a trailing plant. Another nice one here is sweet marjoram. This is kind of related to oregano. It has its own special flavor, but again, another great savory herb that's used in a lot of different cooking preparations. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of this fertilizer, this time-released product, into the material. About 4 tablespoons is what I'm going to use here, and just mix it in. I can always add more later if I feel like the plants aren't growing fast enough, but you don't want to add too much. And that gets our soil ready now, and now we're ready to plant. And I'm going to pick probably 5 of these. I know I want my parsley, so I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to put the parsley kind of in the center of the new container, because it's going to be more upright and filled. And so I want it in here because it's a taller plant right in the center of my container. And this plant can get quite large, so even though it's young right now, just starting, it'll get a lot larger. The second one I'll put in will be the cilantro. Going to add it over here to one of the sides with this big round oval bowl. I'll be able to get a little bit of every one of these in. Of course, next one I really liked was my sage, so I'm going to add that because it'll fill in nicely over here on the side. And of course, can't do without thyme, so I'm going to have this one added in as well. Right here on the side, and it'll just grow right over and fill in. And then I got to make a good choice. I think for this container, I'm going to go with my oregano. Is my 5th choice to fill this in. We'll add it right here, and there we have our little mini herb garden. One of the last steps I want to do now is top this soil off with some type of mulch. I like to use a little pebble or gravel, because what you don't want is all this soil splashing back up when you water or when it rains on the container onto the herbs. It's going to mean a lot more work when you harvest, having to wash them off. I have a couple of different things I'm going to show you. One is just a type of pecan bark that we use here at the Arboretum quite often for mulch, and another is a little small expanded shale gravel that'll top this off. So we'll take a look at these, and I think I'll use the expanded shale here for my particular container that I'm putting in right now. So you just want to add this all around, just to cover all the soil really well. It's kind of decorative too, and you can actually use other things. There are other mulches. You could use a colored pebble, or even polished glass if you like. They sell the little round discs. It's very colorful, and that's also the case with a container. I have a large terracotta container, but you could do this same thing in a beautiful colored bowl. that you can get from the garden center. Or you could plant each one individually in its own little bowl and have a row. If you have a little wall where you want to grow herbs, it could be really fun to do that, very decorative as well. So have fun, enjoy, come out to the garden and see you soon.